Alrighty, so welcome to week 1, part 2. I said in the first part that we were going to do multiplying, dividing polynomial by a constant and then polynomial by a monomial. So we're moving into dividing and multiplying by a monomial. All right, so I'm going to skip right past a bunch of these guys. Get to first page we want to look at here. So if we say the expression 2c times 4c is the product of two monomials, right? Remember, monomials, one term in each of those polynomials. We interpret the product with algebra tiles arranged to form a rectangle with dimensions 2c and 4c. Okay, so we're doing this times this. So if we do something times something, we can show it as a rectangle of one thing times the other thing. So let's see what that looks like. Right, so we have 2c and 4c. Okay, so those are the dimensions. So to find the product, we need to fill in that rectangle. What's it going to have in there? Well, it's going to have a bunch of c squared tiles. Let's see what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 c squared tiles to build the rectangle. So 2c times 4c is 8c squared. See, 8c squared. The expression 2c times minus 4c. So what changed here? Before we had a positive and a positive, now we have a positive and a negative. We're okay with that. Okay, so it's the product of a positive and negative monomial. We form a rectangle with, okay, so we're going to have some positive tiles and some negative tiles. So we're expecting to see some yellow ones and some red ones. Okay, so here's the 2c and here's the minus 4c. When we multiply a positive and a negative number together, our product is always going to be negative. Okay, so when we're starting to fill these in here, this would be c times minus c. So that's going to be minus c squared. C times minus c, there's going to be a minus c squared here. So let's look and see what happens. Here we go. So we filled it in. And they're all red because they represent a positive times a negative, positive times a negative, right? That's what each of these is showing you. This times this is that, this times this is that, this times this is that, and so on and so on. Okay, so those are all negative. So 2c times minus 4c is going to be minus 8c squared. Okay, let's look at this one. The expression minus 4c times 2c minus 3 is the product of a monomial, there it is, and a binomial, two terms. Remember, binomial. We form a rectangle with guiding tiles. Okay, so 4 minus c tiles along one dimension. So there's your minus 4c, minus c, minus c, minus c, minus c. And along the other one, we're going to put in our 2c minus 3. So that's two different kinds of tiles. We're going to have some c tiles, the yellow ones, because those are positive. And we're going to have some 1s. So let's see what that looks like. There's our c's, and there's our 1s, and those are negative. That's a minus 3. So if we have a positive with a negative, that's going to be negative, right? So we're expecting that we're going to have all negatives through here, all negatives through here. But what's going to happen down here? Because here we're going to have this times that, this times that, negative times negative. And when we have negative times negative, we know that it's going to be positive. You guys are pros at that. Okay, so there are how many negative c squared tiles? There they are, 8. And how many c tiles? Because in here, it's going to be c's, because you have minus c times minus 1. C times 1 is c. I have 1c, so I have 12 of those. There they are. Okay, so altogether I have minus 8c squared, and I have plus 12c. So it looks just like that. Look at that. Okay, so let's see what they're going to show us in here. So when we're working on 2x times 3x plus 4, okay, so we have a monomial and a binomial. We're going to take the 2x times each of those parts, and here's what it looks like. If we did the rectangle thing, here's our 2x, Here's our 3x plus 4. So we fill all that in. We end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x squareds and 8x's. So 6x squared plus 8x. There it is. There's another way to do this. Okay, so if you don't want to do the tile thing, some of you like the tile, some of you don't. Okay, it's going to show you, this is just the second part of the question. It's just another example. I'm going to show you another method to use. Okay, so what's this going to show us here? So we can use an area model, 2x, 3x, and 4, right? 3x plus 4, 3x and 4. Remember we talked about polynomials as being a collection of terms, a collection of things. Here's our x terms, here's our number terms. There's some more x terms. So we have 3x times 2x in that space, and 4 times 2x in that space. Okay, so that's what it's showing you here. Rectangle A is really 2x times 3x, 2x by 3x, that part. 6x squared. Rectangle B is 2x by 2x by 4. There it is, that's B. So 2 times 4 is 8, and we're talking about x's. Here we have 2x times 3x, 2 times 3 is 6, x times x is x squared. So we have 6x squared. So you can do it that way. Put those pieces together, our collection of terms, there's our polynomial as our answer. This is just going to show you B. Okay, so for quotient, same idea. We're just talking about dividing instead of multiplying. Okay, so let's look and see what will you do with the algebra tiles here. If we're starting with negative 10n squared, negative 10m squared, okay? So what's that mean, negative 10n? I can't say it. Negative 10m squared, okay? So we have 10 m squared tiles, okay? And they're negatives, so they're going to be those red ones. So we have 10 of those red squares. That's our area, right? We're going to, remember multiplication and division are opposite. So now we're going to undo a multiplication. You're starting with the product, and then you're going to divide it by one of the dimensions of the rectangle, okay? So we're going to put the 10m squared into the middle of the rectangle, like this. There it is. And we're dividing by 2m. So we're saying, well, one side of a rectangle is 2m. What's the other side of my rectangle? That's what we're trying to figure out when we're doing that division. So we start with minus 10m squared right there, divided by 2m. And what do we end up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5m. And they're negative, right? Because this is negative, this is positive, so that has to be negative. Okay. I'm going to finish up here. Almost done. Let's see what's in here. Another way to do it is really, like, look at your coefficient. Negative 10 divided by 2, right? Negative 10 divided by 2 is, let me see what's going to show us next, because I don't like how they do that one. No. Okay, I'll go back to it. So negative 10 divided by 2 is minus 5, right? So there's the minus 5. And m squared divided by m, right? Well, how do I get the m squared? Well, it has to be m times m, right? Or m squared times 1, but I don't have that. So I have an m down here. So m times what would give me m squared? Well, m times m, right? So I know that there's going to be an m on one side and an m on the other side. That's why it's saying think multiplication, right? If I have 2m times what equals minus 10m squared? Well, 2 times minus 5 is minus 10, and m times what is m squared? M times m is m squared, right? 1 times 1 is 1 squared. 2 times 2 is 2 squared. M times m is m squared. Okay, so that's where it's coming. That's where it's coming from with that. All right, so you're ready to do a bit of practice. Good luck.